Now, I got this buddy named Sean. Sean is actually a coach that I've been paying since, I think, 2018. I've been working with him for a few years. And I went to one of his events and he told us about how important a checklist is when you're speaking on stage. Like, make sure that you have this, make sure you have this, make sure I've got my talk, my cue cards, my notes, make sure I've got my music, make sure that I'm pumped up, I've got the right energy, I'm wearing the right thing, make sure that I talk about this or talk about that. We need to add a checklist for this. And then he mentioned, anyway, Sean started to learn how to fly planes. And his instructor told him how important it was to have a checklist. And it's so important that they actually strap the checklist to your leg. And so it's always going to be there. And they'll go through it and it'll say, turn on the engine. It'll say, check this. It'll say, make sure you have enough gas, because wouldn't it suck to be up in the air and not have gas? Because all of a sudden you don't have fuel. Maybe they don't call it gas. It's not gasoline. It is jet fuel. But anyway, wouldn't it be bad to not have put the fuel on? Wouldn't it be bad to have it where your safety equipment wasn't there? So they've got this checklist to make sure all of that. And one day his instructor said, hey man, you are ready. You're ready to be on your own. And Sean was freaking out. He's like, are you kidding me? Like, I haven't done this enough. I need you there with me. And so he goes, nope, you're going to do a bunch of what's called touch and goes. So you're going to fly up and you're going to go around, you're going to circle the block, and then you're going to touch down, and then you're going to take off again, circle the block, touch down, take off, and do that a number of times. He did these touch and goes a few times, and he did it successfully. And he thought to himself, I guess I don't need this checklist. So he takes it off and he puts it to the seat next to him. And now he's not going through his checklist anymore. Now he's recording his podcast without his 10 or 11 things, or without his 6 things. And he goes up, and the short of the story is he didn't do something, and he came down for a landing, and it was so bad that he nose dived. He came down, he didn't do a certain thing. And so what it did is it made the front end, he said he was facing straight down to the runway, to the street, and he thought he was going to flip over. He thought for sure he was going to die. It was like the scariest time. I think he might've said he pooped or peed himself. Can you imagine? And what ended up happening is he neglected one thing that should be normal, that he thinks he knows by heart. And what ends up happening is it almost cost him his life. This is what happened to him. And you know what happened to me recently? I was using the wrong mic. So here's the end of today's podcast is, I'm going to have to re-record a solo. I have Jen from my team. She's sending me the transcript of what I recorded before, so I can look at the transcript, I can tweak a couple of things, and I can sit down, double check that I'm using the right mic and recording, because I'm using my checklist, and I have to re-record that. But I also recorded an episode with a gentleman, Rashawn, which actually is the next episode after this. Rashawn's podcast episode is coming out in a couple of days from now. So you'll hear that, and you'll hear how bad my audio quality is because I used the wrong mic. I just don't want to have to reach out to him and tell him, hey, I'm sorry. Like I made a mistake. We've got to re-record. And so unfortunately I've got to tell my listener, my audience, that, hey, I messed up. I effed up. And as a result, you've got an episode where it's recorded in an audio quality that is not normal for me. You're going to hear this, and I don't want you to be turned off. So I'm kind of giving that pre-warning now that the next episode is like that. And I'm also having to record a short recording, that I'm going to give to Jen. Now it's going to say, I forgot my checklist. And so I recorded bad audio. And listen, here's a moral of the story. Here's a takeaway that you could have. How many episodes has Adam Adams done? Probably close to 900 episodes, probably more than 900 episodes. That's a ton of episodes. That's a lot of content. That's a lot of time sitting in front of my computer. And even I made the mistake, just like my buddy, Sean. He took off and he landed. He took off and he landed. He touchdown. He takes it. He takes the checklist off of his leg. He thinks he got everything, but he doesn't. It almost kills him. And that was my mistake as well. I got too cocky. I got too confident. I got to a place where I was like, nah, I've done over 800, 900 episodes now, almost 1,000 episodes. So I got my shit together. I know what I'm doing here, and ended up recording a way that I didn't want. Now, it's not going to cost me my life, but it is frustrating because time is money. Time is valuable. And I'm going to have to re-record an episode that I already spent time on. And I'm going to also have to put out a piece of content that's with Rashawn, the next episode after this, that that doesn't sound good, that you're not going to be impressed with. And I got to deal with that. And I guess now you've got to deal with that too, you know? And so make sure that you do have a checklist, have those 11 things that I mentioned as a potential, what you could add to your checklist, and feel free to add more. Feel free to add other things that you need to do.